Tonight, climate activists are telling the public to expect more disruption in the coming weeks. The warning comes after two protesters glued themselves to a rare work of art. At the National Gallery of Victoria's Picasso exhibition, two people seemed taken, with one painting in particular. The pair had superglued themselves to Picasso's massacre in Korea, drawing attention to the climate crisis ahead of next month's state election. The group Extinction Rebellion quickly claimed responsibility for the protest.
A clear reflection of Picasso's pacifist beliefs, Massacre in Korea shows the horrors of war through a depiction of the final moments of a group of women and children held at gunpoint by dehumanised soldiers. The banner reads, "Climate chaos equals war and famine," highlighted the connection between climate breakdown and human suffering. No arts were harmed in the making of this action.
The gallery confirmed that the $280 million painting on loan from Paris was unharmed, safely behind a layer of protective perspex.
I think that the message that they've put out really will appeal to people who are alarmed and concerned, but there are a lot of Australians who are uncertain, doubtful and dismissive, and it's probably those groups that you really want to appeal to the most.
It's not the first time members of the Extinction Rebellion have expressed themselves with the Expressionists. Around the world, protesters have glued themselves to the works of Turner, Da Vinci and Van Gogh, all in the name of climate awareness.
We're here glued to this painting, this beautiful painting, because we're terrified for our future.
In Paris, one man at the Louvre made international headlines in May after throwing cake at the Mona Lisa.
Really, what they're doing is overcoming the fact that they don't really have access to large media platforms. However, they've put themselves forward as trusted messengers on this, whereas there are far more trusted messengers than them, like climate scientists.
So, will these disruptions bring about more climate action, or is it just painting protests in a bad light?
Well, Tony Gleeson was one of the protesters who was glued to the Picasso, and he joins us now. Tony, from your point of view, was this a success?
Yes. I haven't had any spare time today at all from fielding media interviews. So in that way, yes, I guess a lot more people are aware now of the concerns that led to us gluing on yesterday.
Do you actually think you've changed anybody's mind?
Don't know. A lot of seeds were planted and they'll germinate at different rates, I guess. Who knows? Who knows? I think by mentioning and doing this interview and talking about the 35 million plus people in Pakistan at the moment that don't have a home, that have lost their livelihoods because of unprecedented flooding, the people in New South Wales that are having to leave their homes, again, because of flooding for the last, 3 or 4 times this year for some of them. So I guess the aim of it is eventually for the Lord to decide just who the criminals are. Is it us who are taking action, non-violent direct action to raise attention on the lack of real action on climate in this country and others? Or is it the fossil fuel executives that knew 50 years ago that this was going to happen and decided to disregard that and carry on with business as usual?
Tony, why wouldn't you go and glue your silly hand to a power station rather than a painting in a gallery when that painting's worth so much money?
Well, we knew beforehand, I think you already know this, Steve, that painting was covered and it was carefully planned. We knew that it was covered and we knew that there was no chance of it being damaged. You can frame that whichever way you want, and you will, but it's your job to be provocative like that, but I'm not going to wear it.
No, I'm just being honest. I think I'm speaking for the majority of people who don't want vandals in their art galleries sticking their hands on perspex covering a Picasso with glue. They would rather, if you want to protest, go and do it somewhere else.
Yeah, no, we'll be doing that over the next 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, great.
We've tried everything else. Yeah. And Steve, do you have kids?
We had an election.
Grandkids?
We had an election over this. We had an election over this,
yes.
Tony. You're trying to pretend that no one notices climate change. For goodness sake, the government has gone everywhere they can on climate change. No,
really. 112 projects, fossil fuel projects right now. You know the science, Steve. Come on. You know the science. There's 112 fossil fuel projects in this country. Please don't try to kid people. The government has made no difference whatsoever. They haven't dropped one of those. So get your facts straight, mate.
I have.
Tony, you mentioned that you might do more of this. You obviously think this has been a successful mission. Are there any galleries, any particular exhibitions we might want to avoid over the next few weeks?
No, it's all non-violent. Whatever happens to be non-violent will be disruptive. We're not going to flag out what we're going to be doing, but it'll be disruptive and it'll get media, and hopefully the facts will come out and more and more people will realise. And it's proven that non-violent direct action works.
Right, Tony, well, I don't think we're going to get you and Pricey to agree at any point here, but we appreciate hearing your thoughts and good luck with everything.
Thank you. Anytime.